Hello, I'm VX and welcome back to QnA Saturday. QnA Saturday is a weekly series I run on my channel where I answer your questions about a variety of subjects. One of those tends to be the next update for Minecraft console, but also about a whole range of other things that anyone wants to ask using the comments of last week's Q&A or from Twitter, where I tweet out once a week asking for questions from all of you. So yeah, if you want to ask either of those things, then ask in the comments down below, because next week's Q&A will be recorded tomorrow, so just keep that in mind, because I'll be flying out on Monday and therefore I have to get it recorded before I'm gone. So anyway, with that said, I hope you'll enjoy this week's Q&A Saturday. Like it if you do like it, because it helps out the channel and lets know you do like this sort of stuff. But with that said, let's get straight into it, shall we? And let's start with the first question, which comes in from Jackaboy, who says, at IVXToyCat, why, in your opinion, are the 4J guys so quiet while developing, whereas the PC and PE devs are frequently updating us? So I think one of the key things about this is the fact that, obviously whenever 4J are developing something, it's something that's come from the PE or come from the PC, because that's kind of what they do. They port the game to the console, so that means it's not quite so exciting to be like, oh look, it's the new Pistons, but again on the console. I think that's one of the reasons, but I think the big one is to do with the kind of structure of the Poctition and the PC team. If you think about Minecraft PC team, there's no like one central account where everything gets squeezed out from. There's Jeb's account, and he's working on the game. There's Dinnerbone's account, and although he's not working on the game anymore, he's working on the launcher. There's all these different accounts for the PC team. It's the same for the Poctition. There's Tommaso, and there's the Daniel. There's all these different people working on the game, and they just tweet out what they're working on because they're kind of excited about it. Whereas the console guys, there really is just one central Twitter. It's at 4J Studios, the main one where they tweet out updates and stuff, and that's like the big one by just a massive margin. Like if you look at the actual individual employees, they have way less followers, and they're not really there to beat people and talk about what they're doing with the game. And I don't know if they even can. The company structure is just different there. So why do the 4J devs not update us? I think it's because the main account can't spam too much, but that's where the followers are. So what they like to do is just every now and then let us know what's going on. Whereas on the other hand, Jeb or Dinnerbone, they're just one person. They like to tweet that, oh yeah, I'm really excited to be working on this random feature. Like Jeb let us know that he wants to fix the the way paintings are done. It's just one of those things that you wouldn't hear on the other side, because instead they'd fix it and move on to the next thing. They wouldn't necessarily be tweeting in between, which I know that might have been a lot of words, but hopefully that explains something. And in case it didn't, let's move on to the next question, which is from Force Logical YT, who says, at IVXToyCat, I don't know why it was twice, but if you could change something in the past, what would you change and why? So this is one of those things where I feel like most people are like really hung up on something and would be like, oh yeah, I'd go back to when I was 7 and I'd I don't know, kick myself in the shin, or whatever the actual answer is. Like I'd give myself some candy. I don't know, but like basically for me, I feel like the past beyond anything beyond like a year or two, I wouldn't be able to change, because the life as if you've watched any time travel movie, you'll know it's all about like each individual event leads you to where you are today, which is why I like movies about time travel like Groundhog Day and the Butterfly Effect, because you get to see like that impact on time, because that's how the world works. It's lots of tiny decisions that add up to where you are today, and I quite like where I am today. Like I get to do something I really love, and I also travel a lot of the world and stuff, so I really like where I am right now. I'm not going to re-roll that. However, I think something within the last year, even then, I'd have to have unlimited goes at it. You'd have to be like, you can go back and change it, and you can keep going and change it till you get it right, but it has to be this one time frame, because within the last year, everyone can think of a mistake where you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that, and there's quite a few of those I guess I can think of and be like, if I'd have done this differently, I'd be in a lot better place today, and even if there's some bad stuff that happens too, it'd probably be worth it. So yeah, I'd go back in time and I'd probably fix something that's like relatively minor, but would have a big impact, and I wouldn't have to think back to it, and it'd probably like have some positive repercussions as well as just having one negative thing in my life. So the big thing that comes to example is like, oh yeah, so at the start of last year, like February, March sort of time, I was catching a train from somewhere to London, and my rail card, which long story behind how that works, was slightly expired, and they fined me some inordinate amount of money, like £450. And it's not that they did that, because I think they might be able to if they believe that I'd done it really viciously. It's the way they forced me into paying, because they're like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna make this all okay. You just have to sign this thing saying that what we did wasn't okay, that I'm not gonna do it again, a few of the journeys from the past few months and stuff like that. And then when that was done, they were like, okay, it's all gonna be good now. Oh, by the way, as it turns out, you just signed what was basically a confession document, and if we're gonna give you this offer right now. If you don't pay this amount of money before you leave the room, you can't get a lawyer to read it or anything like that. If you don't pay this amount of money right now, we will take you to court to get this amount of money, which was like that amount of money but doubled, like in the thousands. And it's like, what? You're allowed to do that? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, it's just the way the policy works. So it was an amount of money like I didn't even have at the time. Like I had to put it on a credit card, and it's like, is this I'd feel okay about it if I was like, oh yeah, I'd done this really wrong thing and now it's been made better. But it was such an insignificant amount of money to them, such a significant amount to me, and it took a lot of my time to get there. Like I had to pay and take a train up to their random headquarters in the north, and it's like, this is just the worst thing that's ever happened. And yeah, it's one of those things that I feel like I could undo and just make my life a little bit better, like 1% better for the next like 2 months, and I'd totally go back and do that. Anything like that, like a small thing, I'd be pretty happy with. Anyway, that was a really too long response response to a question about time travel, but I like time travel a lot. It's a big thing to consider. Anyway, that said, let's move on to the next question, a nice simple one from Flack A, who says, are Woodland mansions better than end cities? And the answer to this one is, I guess they are, but I mean, it really depends on what you do. One for one, because a lot of people still haven't gone to their end cities. I see some people, still are like, oh, just got into my end today, and I think that's pretty cool that, like, for some people, the update content lasts a month, but with Woodland mansions, they're the sort of thing that you can get on a seed the moment the update comes out, and then you can explore them. But I think as far as, like, are they better? Probably not, because the Woodland mansion has stuff like the Totem of Undying. There's lots of fun stuff in there, but once you clear it, you just have this giant building that you're like, oh, this is made from relatively dull resources. You can turn it into a big house or something, but it's just way bigger than anyone really even wants from a house. So yeah, the Woodland mansion's like cool for the loot, but it's way too big, and I feel like on a console-sized world, I think the dimensions, it's like almost 100 by 100 or something like that. It's going to be such a giant part of the world, and therefore it's going to have to be rare. I really don't know how they're going to make them work on console, and there's a lot of interesting questions we'll have to see when 1.11 does come to the console. Anyway, with that said, let's move on to the next question, which comes in from Lava Thief, who says, at IBX Toycat, if the world was ending tomorrow, how would you want it to end, e.g. zombie apocalypse? So, assuming I get to, like, have a chance of survival, I think you want to go with either zombie apocalypse, like you said, or you want to go with the, the radiation model. Actually, I was thinking, like, Fallout, but, radiation's actually pretty bad. No radiation, please. But, yeah, I think I want, like, a calamity that's, like, just about survival, because zombies, for example, they're the fun one if you're actually going to survive it. The zombies are really fun because you get to, like, try and outsmart them and stuff, and there's a lot of, like, really simple stuff that can help you do that. Like, okay, fill up your bathtub with water before it gets contaminated. Easy. First step. Second step, get somewhere away from, like, an inner city. If you're in a city with, like, 100,000 people, you're probably dead. I mean, I'm, like, at the outside, right now, at least I'm at, like, the outer edge of a suburb outside the city. I might just be able to make it to somewhere where there's, like, 3 houses every mile or something, and once you get there, it's pretty easy to survive, honestly. So yeah, try and find a farm or something and live a new life. It's gonna be pretty fun. The ideal scenario would be, like, Fallout style, but assuming, by the way, okay, so that's if I live. If you don't get to live, it's just like, yep, you're gonna die regardless. Then gamma ray, because it's all over. We don't even know it's over, and it's wonderful. So yeah, that was probably a little bit. Don't look up gamma rays if you haven't heard them already. They're kind of horrifying. Anyway, with that said, let's move on to the next question, which comes in from Quack Nathan 56, who said, and then there's like a chick next to that. At IBX Toycat, hashtag QnA. What would you expect in the next big update? And if there is anything you want on console, what is it? By the way, keep up the vids. I will keep up the videos, as you're seeing right now with this one. But yeah, what do I expect in the next big update? I honestly, right now, my head wants to say, or my heart, or my whatever, I don't know, something wants to say, like, oh yeah, it's going to be 1.11, they hinted at it, and it kind of makes sense to catch up the PC, but every single year, we always think they're going to work on the update now, and they always do it in the second half of the year. They always work on something else, whether it's, battle, whether it's like, this or that. They always work on something in the first half, and this year, I think that first half is going to be like add-ons, or it might be realms, or it's going to be one of those things. Probably. Like, I really am conflicted as to which will be which. If I had to place a bet on it right now, I would say 1.11, but there's so many things they could be working on that, like, it's not, like, anywhere near certain add-on. No, it's not as certain as that release date thing, which was a day off last year. So yeah, and also what do I want in console? Probably the most llamas, because llamas are just cool, and all the variants of llamas, there's so much fun you can have them. So yeah, that's the answer to your question, Mr. Nathan. Let's move into the next one from Adam Chanley, who says, at IBX Toycat, how did your phone break? So yeah, I broke my phone recently. I had to get a new one. Got an S7 Edge. I could, like, upgrade my phone for a little bit extra instead of just getting a replacement, because I had insurance, apparently. But yeah, the way my actually old phone broke, though, is that I just... so it was broken before, and I like the story of how, because I was at Niagara Falls, and, like, I was taking pictures of the waterfall, and there's this giant mist, right? I think it's called, like, the Mist. It's got some famous name, and I was taking pictures while I was in it. Apparently, when you're in a giant mist, that is basically putting your phone in water, so the buttons broke, and it wasn't amazing then. But then on New Year's Eve, my friend, like, punched me super hard in the shoulder, because I think it was, like, I probably did something to deserve it, but he punched me super hard in the shoulder, and it just made, like, my hand unclench and drop the phone straight onto the street and just entirely cracked. So yeah, how did my phone break? My friend punched me in the arm, and it fell on the floor, and it hurt my soul a little bit. But honestly, okay, this sounds ridiculous, but, like, in the moment of that, where I was like, oh yeah, well, now I'm really angry at that, so I kicked him, like, as hard as I humanly could, and it was like, I think he got more hurt than I did from the arm thing. So that might sound ridiculous, but apparently New Year's Eve, it makes that all just justifiable. So yeah, that's how my phone broke, with the longest unnecessary story ever in 2 parts too. So with the next, with that said, let's move to the next question, which comes in from Fallout, who says, Fallout Tech Boy, who says, IBX Toycat, do you own all the Minecraft console DLC? If not, I dare to buy them all on a QnA video. Thanks in advance. So, do I own all the DLC? Pretty much, actually, because I need to show off the mashup packs and videos, so I just buy them. I need to show off the texture packs and videos, like it's justifiable in that way. The skin packs, I only own very specific ones off. I bought the ones that I went back when I wanted them, so like skin pack, the first one that had like a cat-like skin, the Summer of Arcade one, then there was the skin pack 2, I think it was, then skin pack 5, and then after that, it's been only ones I need for videos, like the Simpsons one, or it's been just ones that I've got, codes for from either, Microsoft or 4J or someone like that. That's the only reason I have skin packs. I'm not buying the rest because I'm not supporting skin packs, because I think they're just, low quality. I don't think they're worth the money, and I think they're like a bad part of the console/Pocket Edition ecosystem. So yeah, that's my logic behind that one. But I am a big fan of the texture packs, and that's the answer. Let's move to the next question, which comes in from Jacob Rules, who says, do you like living in the EU, or would you go somewhere else? So when people say EU, there's like, especially if you're not from Europe, you might assume like, EU meaning Europe, like, EU the first 2 letters, or EU like the European Union, because the UK is on progress to leave the European Union in like 2.5 years. So technically, if I didn't like living there, I wouldn't in 2.5 years. But yeah, and to actually answer it like a Europe thing, do I like living in Europe, or would I prefer to live somewhere else? And honestly, when it comes down to like places you can live as an English speaker, you've got North America and you've got like Europe, right? And you can learn other languages and live somewhere in like, Asia, or like, there's lots of other places you can live. But as far as like the high tech blah 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 countries, so yeah, when it comes to that sort of thing, I think North America has a lot of cool stuff, especially when it comes to like, oh yeah, all the movies are there, and like, almost very like, I love that the food is like just on the next level, because Americans love food and stuff. I love all that sort of stuff, but I really do like Europe, just because it's a lot closer together. Like, oh yeah, I can catch the train to France and I can be there in 2 hours, and like from any one major US city, can you catch the train to even any other major US city, like, Boston to New York? No, like, and they're pretty close together, or like Chicago to like Detroit? No. Like, if you think about any like 2 major cities, they're always just so far apart, and it's like kind of ridiculous. Whereas Europe's pretty close together, especially by like low cost flights and stuff. And there's a lot of stuff I like in terms of that. And also I just like the UK. Like I quite like this country. That's why I bought a house here. And hopefully I still decide that in a year, because otherwise we'll have some issues. Anyway, with that said, let's move to the next question, which comes in from Joe, who says, at IBX Toycat, what are you hoping for in the next mythology mashup pack? I'm waiting for the perfect medieval/Norse texture. So honestly, even though they probably will be doing a Nordic texture pack, it's going to be really interesting to see how they do it, because I feel like Nordic mythology is already, like, Skyrim's got that pretty locked down, so I guess it'd have to be like a medievalish. No, I don't know, I don't really see anything where I'm really excited to do anything with the textures themselves. I think the mashup pack itself is always a fun time. The Chinese one was pretty good, the Greek one was pretty good. I think the last like truly amazing one was the Super Mario one earlier this year. I really liked the Halloween one last year too, and it's I guess it would be earlier last year and 2 years ago. New Year is hard, just get that ahead. But yeah, I really like those texture packs. I'd love to see another mashup pack. I'd love to see another like fun kind of game you can do with the mashup pack world, because I have a lot of fun doing those, and I know a lot of people do as well. So yeah, that's what I hope for the next mythology mashup pack, a cool world to explore, and that's all I really want from any mashup pack. So with that said though, let's move into the final question, which comes in from Llama Gamer 87, who says, #QnA, have you ever heard of or been to Leicester in the East Midlands? So I have both heard of, by the way, I've never understood why it is Leicester, because you look at it and it should be Leicester, but whatever, I know it's Leicester, and yeah, I've heard of there, and I've been there quite a lot, because it's only, it's maybe like an hour away, depending on how you want to get there, and because of that, or maybe just randomly, it just seems like a lot of people, like a lot of times in my life, randomly, people seem to be there, because even though London is the way bigger city, for instance, like, I think my aunt went to university there, and therefore I went there a couple of times for that. One of my internet friends lived there, and one of my real life friends, like, he like, his uncle lives there, so we went over there a lot just to, like, go out at night and stuff like that. And then my most recent girlfriend lived there, and that's why I went back and forth so much. And then after that, another couple of friends moved there for, I think it might be university, but they went to like the different university, because there's 2 there apparently. It's kind of weird, but yeah, I've been there a lot of times, and it's a very unique city in the UK. I feel like if you're gonna go to like 10 cities or 5 cities, I feel like Leicester would have to be on there. And just to name like a few random things, in case you are from there and you're like, oh wow, Toycat, Toy Cat knows this place. There's the giant High Cross shopping center near the center of the place. They've got a Five Guys now, which is the only thing you need to make a city great. And also, this is something I've never been to. I always wanted to, but no one's ever down to go with me. There's it's the most ridiculous idea for anything. It's like a toilet and plumbing museum, and it's literally the live machine that works on like the entirety of Leicester or something like that. It's such a bad idea. Like, it's so bad it has to be good, but no one else sees it that way. They're just like, no, that's just bad to look at. But yeah, there is I think it's called like the Abbey Pump Works or something. Go there at some point. It's near the Science Centre, and you can live my dream for me if you live in Leicester, which I assume you do, by the way, because otherwise that's a random question to ask. Anyway, though, hope you did all enjoy today's Q&A Saturday. If you did all like it, like the video and let me know, because it helps out the channel a lot. Let us know you do like this sort of stuff. Share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here, because I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.